Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode from Journal de Sylvie. Today I would like to share with you the techniques I applied in building my bucket list notebook. I've done a research about this concept, and the first thing, of course, I learned is the basic definition of a bucket list, which is, in very simple words, a list of the goals you aim to accomplish, the experiences you want to live, and the destinations you would like to visit within your lifetime. So as you can see, having this definition, you can tell to come up with such a list is a very insightful exercise, because you need to brainstorm about what matters most to you and how to use your precious time. So I have here my traveler's notebook in passport size. It's an all-in-one setup. I did share this setup before. And one of the inserts is my bucket list journal. So when I did this research, I was wondering, why do we need to write it down from the first place, like in a physical notebook? And the answer was in this very realistic quote, which is, goals that are not written down are just wishes. And I realized that's very true, because once you have them written in a tangible structure, first it keeps you motivated. It's kind of a reminder of why you are working extra or doing the extra mile, because you do have a list you wish to achieve. And also it helps you to remain focused, because, focus on the bigger picture of what you want to do with your life, because it's very easy to be distracted with busy day-to-day activities. So now we have this physical notebook. The size of the notebook you use for bucket list, to decide which one is suitable for you, I will come to this in a minute. But for now, the techniques are all the same. So first of all, make sure that you have your notebook labeled, that this is your bucket list, this is the space where you designate for that purpose. And then when I started thinking about my list, I realized that I have different objectives that belong to different themes, and I didn't want to dump them all in a way that looks like groceries list. So one good tip is to categorize your goals and dreams. And the first category, a very popular one when it comes to bucket list, is the category of travels and activities I would like to experience at least once. So as a separator for each section, I created this vision board for that particular section of travels and activities. And I created this vision board in a way to make it look like the journey is about to start. Of course, you don't have to do this. You can do drawings. You can add one picture that's always been a source of motivation or inspiration for you. And then I added one extra page because I was keen to add this particular quote that I personally work to make it happen, which is, once a year, go somewhere you have never been before. So again, this is like an opening inspirational page. And then the list, the main ingredient of your bucket list, which is itemized or numbered objectives and destinations or activities that you would like to experience. I have it numbered, and I have here I write here the objective, and then I leave a space on the side for date accomplished, which is basically, once I add the date, that means that the goal is achieved. So how many? I started with 101. Of course, you can add 20, you can add 100, you can add 1,000. A couple of tips related to bucket list, and regardless the category. First of all, your list is not static. So review it periodically, because one, circumstances changes. Two, you can come across an unplanned opportunity that you want to embrace, and even if it wasn't written in your bucket lists, So yes, be committed, but it's also not something written on stones. And the second thing is that when you come up with your list, do some brainstorming, maybe with your family or your partner, because you need to to think about expanding your horizon and somehow get out of your comfort zone. But this list needs to be also something, not a list of impossible fantasies, right? According to Stanford University, a paper they wrote about the concept of bucket list, they mentioned that this is a value map for your future life accomplishments, right? So make it something that really can happen. I closed this section with another vision board, and here, like, the theme of the visuals is more like me after I knock down that list. I'm here reflecting on the beautiful memories and the lessons learned. A second category, which again, as a separator, I create vision boards to start a new chapter. And this is where I added the goals and the dreams I have that represent my personal interests, my personal hobbies. And you can tell from the decoration I used, they evolve around reading, writing, journaling, art. Ideas for different categories you can have for a bucket list. It can be social, you can have professional goals, health goals, maybe pick up on a hobby that you dropped long time ago, creative or educational goals. For example, you want to learn a new language or try something at least once, and so on. And because this is a more of a creative space, I did create my bucket list in less conventional way. So I incorporated the list itself with the vision board. I have 7 items here. For example, the first one is learn and start oil painting. I want to try this at least once. So the list can take different forms and shapes, whatever motivates you. Also, if you have this very important objective, very important goal that you prioritize, nothing prevents you from creating one entire spread for that one objective. So I created this spread to remind myself with the objective of writing. I want to start writing, even if it's a newsletter to start with, again, or at least to try it once in life. So looking at this spread with all the small, tiny, decorative details sets me on motion, you know. And another one that I dedicate an entire page for it is also building my cabinet of curiosities. You can have a date somewhere here, but because the type of objectives here are more related to a process, it's okay. You can make it, as I mentioned, less conventional. But the classic way, or the main ingredient of a bucket list, is listing all your objectives numbered and leave a space for the date. Now, this is related to listing your goals. When I was doing the research, I came across that a very typical section in a bucket list journal is this section of summarizing your experience after you accomplished your objective. So it seems like this is a classic thing to do. For example, here it's a very summarized version of one of the items I had, number 40. So number 40 here was snorkeling, I believe, yes. And this is something that my husband and I accomplished last summer. So you add the number of the item, you add the date accomplished, and then you can add any fun facts. Typically, you can list why you did this, why you had this objective in your bucket list from the first place, with whom, what are the action items you had to take to equip yourself and help you to reach out this goal, and then a summary of the experience itself. This can be also associated with some fun facts like country, location in that country. A typical thing to add when you are talking about an activity is to rate the difficulty, you know, in a simple format like easy, medium, or difficult, and then rate the overall experience. And again, add a visual while you are experiencing this objective. And this will be like your summarized page of, I've done it, I've got the shirt. This is also the part that will help you to decide the size of your notebook, because depending on how elaborate and detailed you want to go with this section, you can decide maybe, oh, this is too small for me, I want to write a little bit more. So maybe you can consider something like this. a standard size notebook that you want to dedicate for bucket list, not necessarily because of the list, but because of the summary you will add after. And if you really want to add more and more details, I highly recommend you get those A5 bucket list journals. I will try to leave the link to one of those in my description box. They basically come in A5 size, and they are pre-printed, equipped with the map, because a map is a typical feature in bucket list, because some people like to label at least the places they visited or add some notes. They come with stickers, map, before and after the objective. So it's almost like an abbreviated travel journal / bucket list. So yes, it depends how detailed you want to go. Or maybe you don't have a travel journal system in place and you want to combine both. So then a bigger size will probably be more convenient. For me personally, I thought I didn't mind tailoring my own. I thought that the passport size is more than enough to include all my objectives and dreams. And the last tip I will give, or something that I learned from my research, is that this list you need to be honest about your list. In other words, build it in a way that reflects what you truly desire. It's okay if you don't have a typical item that is known to be popular in bucket list. Like, it's okay not to have climb a mountain. Maybe it's a small goal that you can accomplish with a realistic deadline over a weekend. And you will be surprised how rewarding is accomplishing small goals. Make it about you, make it about what is really exciting for you. And I will wait to hear your thoughts about this concept, and also about, if you do already have a bucket list notebook, what are the techniques you use. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Happy journaling.